Welcome to The Pivot, stories of people who made a change. My name is Andrew Osenga, and I'm so excited for you to hear this episode. I'm almost giddy. We're going to talk to Jasmine Mullen. Jasmine is kind of one of my favorite people on the earth. Jasmine's the lead singer of the band The New Respects, who is cooler than all the other bands. She's an author. She's written 2 young adult novels called Ben Washington is the Newbie on the Block and Ben Washington is the Odd Man Out. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the covers of the books right here. They're so cool looking. We talk a lot about Ben, the main character of these books, and how cool Ben is and the things that Ben goes through. Ben doesn't think he's very cool, and that's kind of what makes him cool. So I met Jasmine when she was 19. I was working at a record company at the time, and the one band that I signed was The New Respects. They were all, I think, 19. I was also very young as a record company guy. I didn't know what I was doing, and I eventually lost that job because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was scared every day in that job for 2 years and failed. And then I started a podcast called The Pivot about what happens when you fail and learned a lot from that experience, and eventually got another job doing that same role at another company and did it for 6 years and loved it every day and learned so much from failing that I think maybe I did a pretty good job the second time. But sadly, Jasmine and her friends had to put up with me not knowing what I was doing the first time. But Jasmine has been a huge part of the Anchor Hymns project that I lead, which has been a really fun way to get to work with her closely again. But mostly I just kind of watch from the sidelines, cheer her on as her friend, as she has grown into this just amazing singer, songwriter, author, and creative person. And this conversation was so fun because she's just obviously a great storyteller, and you're just going to love hanging out with her. But we really got to the heart of what this podcast is all about, which is like, where do we put our hope and where do we get our identity from? What I so appreciate about Jasmine is how honest she is as a writer and as a human, and how sort of joyfully she can share what's going on in her heart. And this is what I always hope The Pivot can be, which is just an open conversation about what we're hopeful for and afraid of when it comes to our career, yeah, and the things that we love to do, yeah. I have a feeling that you're going to pull into the parking lot at work and just sit in your car for a few minutes and be a little late because you're not going to want to stop listening to this conversation with Jasmine Mullen. So you're out at your
I'm at my
mom's
mom.
farm.
Yeah, I'm literally in my childhood room right now, drinking Keurig coffee that for some reason tastes so good to me. Like every time I'm out here, I'm like, can't wait to have coffee at mom's. It just tastes better.
When did you grow up in that house?
Yes, this is the house I grew up in.
Were you born in that house? Like, how old were you when you moved into that
So,
house?
no, I was born in Nashville, which is like an hour north of here. And my parents bought this farm when I was like a year old.
Oh, wow.
So I don't remember obviously living anywhere else. And all my childhood years were in this house. And it's like my favorite place in the world. It's so beautiful. It's like in the middle of nowhere. There are literally last night when I was driving here, there was a cow in the middle of the road. Like, it's just, like it's kinda chaotic, but it's, like, really sweet. There's just there's a donkey, at mom's backyard and a couple horses and a dog,
Like, is that
and
her
it's
donkey?
No, it's our neighbors board their donkey and their horses at our house. But when I was growing up, we had horses that, we'd ride, and my mom was like whenever I think about my mom, like, in the fullness of herself, I think about her, like, riding there's this huge hill in the backyard. She would ride down that hill on her horse, Little Man, bareback, and she'd just be like, "Doom, doom, doom, doom," and it was just so cool. Her braids would, like, fly. Like, she was just, like, this, like, cool she's so cool. So that's what I always think about is, like, her on Little Man riding bareback down the hill.
I
But
mean, that is not the image that I have of my mother growing up.
It's real. That's real. That's real.
So how often are you out there these days?
I try to get out here at least once a month. I feel like though I was actually here like a couple weeks ago. It just depends on the season. So it's
Mhm.
either like for a couple weeks, once a month. But I talk to my mom and my dad all the time.
Hmm.
Um, Probably like once a day
That's really
or
special.
for a couple days. Thanks. I
That's
love
really neat.
them.
You were
Yeah,
okay.
me
We
too.
were we ended up road tripping last week back from Birmingham. We were at that Anchor Hymns writing
Yeah,
camp, which was so fun. And you were
that was
telling
so
me
awesome.
it was awesome. It was really awesome.
Thanks.
You were telling me about your grandparents who both live right there
Mhm.
by the farm, right? Both sets of grandparents?
Did. Yeah, so my grandma on my mom's side still lives there, but growing up, um, there's a house on the hill to the right, and my mom's mom, who we call Gramps, and her dad, Daddy Gramps, they lived on that house. And then across the street, directly across the street, is a house where my pop doesn't live there anymore, but my Mimi and Pop, who are my dad's parents, they lived right across the street. And that was until I was like 23 or 24 that they like both lived there, and we just like it was so awesome. They were like the best ever. They would walk across the street or we'd walk across the street, and yeah, it was literally the best. It was
It,
the best ever.
that is like, I mean, that sounds like this sort of Mayberry kind of childhood of having your
Yeah.
both sets of grandparents living right there by the farm where you grew up with horses.
Yeah, yeah. There are parts of, like when I look back, I think I told you, like, there's stuff that was really, like, heavy about
Yeah.
childhood, but it was set in the most beautiful location, and God set me up so well with these, like, grandparents who are literally, like, storybook grandparents. They're just, like, the best ever on both
Hmm.
sides, and I just felt like now I look back and I'm just like, "Lord, what a gift, what a blessing to have had that kind of, like, support that close," and I just,
Hmm.
like, just thought it was kind of normal. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, Graham, she," you know, and she's just and she's to this day, like, my Grams is, I think, like, she lives between heaven and earth, like, she's just, like, so she's amazing. And whenever I'm out here, like this morning even, like usually she'll call from her porch and I'll be like, she'll go, "Hello, Jasmine." But did this morning, she drove down and stopped by and she's like, "I'm going to lead my Bible study." I'm like, awesome. She's just the best ever. Yeah, it was a blessing.
So, I mean, your parents divorced, right? When you were a kid, how old were you?
Yeah, when I was 20 when they
You were
divorced.
20. Okay.
I was
But
20.
but
Uh-huh.
you're
My brothers were kids. So, well, Max was like 16 and then Jojo was like 9 or 10. He was
okay.
10 when they divorced.
Okay.
Mhm.
But your grandparents both stayed right there
They both stayed.
living. So
Mhm.
what was that
They
like?
both
How did your grandparents living there uh like how did having them there, what was that like having them right there by you as that was going on?
It was amazing. Um, so it's interesting 'cause that first year, uh, my dad, like, lived with Mimi and Pop across the street, so we were kinda like
Huh.
there wasn't that much shift to the dynamic in terms of, like, I would still see I mean, there was a shift, a huge
Yeah, yeah,
shift,
yeah.
but I'm saying of, like, frequency of seeing my mom and dad, it was pretty much the same, because I still lived at the farm, and I kinda was living back and forth because I was going to college at Lipscomb,
Hmm.
so I lived with a friend's family some of the week, but I would see my parents, like, halfway through. And my grandparents, they always loved each other, like, and they like, to this day, my mom loves Pop. My Mimi, she's passed, and my daddy Gramps, which is my mom's dad, he passed. But, my mom loves Pop and Mimi and my dad loves Grams and Daddy Grams, and my grandparents love each other. And like, so that part of the system like never really broke down. And that was like
Mm.
so helpful because it was just like my grandma like is like always like they divorced each other, but we didn't divorce each other. We're always gonna be family. Like that's
Oh,
just like the vibe, is so sweet. And
wow.
so like that was so helpful. And I think like made me still feel like this is still family. Like
Mm.
everything's not broken down. I also thankfully was like 20 and
Yeah.
had like so much support family wise and extended like friends who are family. But my grandparents, they were like a huge part. And we ended up moving, my mom ended up moving us to Franklin for like 2 seconds. We lived in Franklin, but this house, like it never sold. And one day
Mm.
she like texted us like 2 years in because nobody liked living in Franklin, even her. And she was like, we're moving back to the farm. And I was the first person who moved back, and I moved in that same day. And
The same
my grandma
day.
was like, I did because I was like, listen, the farm is it is everything to me. And my grandmother was and me, my grams was like, I've been praying you guys back home. So
Really?
I mean, I don't live here anymore, but it is like so home for me. And it's such an important like setting in my family story. And my parents are like, I've seen so much of the Lord's faithfulness, and even in their dynamic. My dad has remarried to a woman who like is such a blessing to our family.
Mm.
She is an incredible woman. My mom loves her. We love her. And she kind of feels like such an extension of like who my grandparents are, like in terms of like she's just like the best. I tell her all the time, like, do you know, like you're literally like I was like 24 or something or 25 when they got married, but I call her my stepmom. Like I'm in my 30s and I'm like, that's my stepmom Creed.
Mm.
And but this house and my grandparents and Cree, like I've seen God do things that I never thought could be done and with my parents. And they sit down at a table and they can like laugh with each other. And and I'm like, what the heck? So, it's been interesting, but it's like that, at least that story is like such like a shocking
Mm.
grace to me that I'm like, wow. And I love that this house like has so much to do with it. But yeah, it's a great house. I
Yeah.
love this house.
I have been thinking more and more about how much place is such a big, just has such an important part of our stories. And I kind of took that. I
Yeah.
kind of just I haven't really thought about that much until
Yeah.
more recently. Um,
Mm,
yeah, but just how important that is really beautiful. Well, so that was all happening when you were 20, and I think I met you. I think when you were 20,
yes.
so that was
Or
probably
night.
yeah.
I think my parents were still together actually when we met. I think I was 19,
You
which
might
is
have
crazy.
been. Yeah,
Hmm.
wow. Okay, so I met you. You were in a band at the time called the John Hancock Band.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Remember that?
Ew, yes.
I think one of my girls still wears the T-shirt like
Yes, Sadie, she told me she has it.
yeah. I think Sadie still wears it. Yeah, all the time. Like she wears it a lot because
That's
she's a
so
history
wild.
buff, and it's got this head of John Hancock,
Yes. So
which was just the best. And then uh, I was working at Capital Christian Music Group at the time, and I signed one artist while I was there, which was this band called the John Hancock Band, and quickly was like, this is not the right name for these young
yes, praise
people.
God.
And do you remember I had that giant window in that office, and
Mhm.
we would just write on it with like a
All the
like dry
time.
erase marker, and we probably had 200 or 300 names
Billions
at one
of
point,
names.
and
Yes.
eventually had the new something else and something respects, and one day was like, hey, the new respects. And
Yes.
turned out
It was the one.
no one else had that. And we that could be a name. And you guys have been that
Yes.
now for 10
How
years.
old are we? At least 10.
It's
At least 10.
crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
What would
Insane.
you I mean, I know how I met you, but would you tell there's stuff I'm sure I don't know. Would you tell me the story of the band? Because you guys didn't start as a
Yeah.
band. You started as
No.
your family.
Yeah, we're family.
That's your
So
yeah.
we're cousins. Cousins is for me not a strong enough word. And also like so actually we're family friends. Their mom
So who's in the band? So
and my
it's
so sorry, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
it's
just jumping in the middle.
no.
So the band is Darius Fitzgerald, his sister, Zandy Morey, and I'm Jasmine. So
And
me.
early on, their sister Lexi was
Early
also
on,
in the band.
yeah, Sandy's twin sister Lexi was in the band too. She now has 5 children, which is amazing.
5 as of like
And
a week ago.
as literally less than a week, she had a baby. And so she's not in the band anymore, but she still like styles us and does all kind of stuff with the band. But so right now it's me, Zandy, and Darius. Zandy and Darius are siblings. We were raised together. My mom and their mom were pregnant with me and Darius at the same time in like a pregnancy group at church. And they met, raised us kind of like family. And they're like, I used to be like, those are my best friends because for a long time, I don't know if I should say those. I'm gonna say it, and then I don't know if we'll keep it. But the word friend was heavier to me than the word family
Huh.
because it was like something that you choose, and
Hmm.
it's like family just happens to you, and like friendship is like something that you can like build on. And you can build on, and now I feel a little differently about that. But for a long time, I was always like, those are my best friends. And now I'm like, I think family can be chosen too, and it's also weighty. And anyway,
Hmm.
there's this like, especially in Black culture, there's like this family thing that like somebody can be your sister and they're not related to you at all. Somebody can be your auntie and there's no blood, and that's just how it is. It's just
Yeah.
like, that's my uncle, and it's like, that's not actually though my mom's brother. It's just, that's just my uncle,
Yeah. They have that
and
place in your life.
that's the place in your life. And so that's how it was built. But it's like, I Zandy and Darius and Lexi, like Lexi and Zandy are like basically my sisters. Like I'm like, that's like, I don't have sisters. I have 2 little brothers who I'm obsessed with them. But like the closest thing I have to sisters are Lexi, Zandy, and our friend Sydney. And I'm just like, yeah, like that's my family. Like that's like my family. There was a point to me saying this. What were we talking about? Oh, how did the band start? Okay. So, um we grow up, we were on the road with my mom, who is a CCM artist, and we were doing background dancing for her. And we were
You were how
like,
old
I
when you were
remember
doing that?
I started when I was 12 and I stopped when I was like 18. So
Wow.
all throughout that, my whole, middle school and college years. I mean, high school years. And um we would like write songs sometimes. Me and Zandy we listened to a lot of Brooke Fraser. We started to like write songs together,
Didn't you
and
weren't
I
you
was always
just
like,
on Brooke's new record like last week or something?
we yes, and I'm about to go back tomorrow.
Come on.
I can't believe it. I'm literally like, I literally am such a huge fan. Like, I try not to be weird 24/7, and sometimes I don't succeed, and that's okay. But I'm a massive, massive fan. But she's like a huge reason why me and Zane started writing songs together.
Hmm.
we were listening to Flags, and we're like, "Whoa, this is so cool. Wow." And so, we're, like, writing these songs together. Zandy is, like, learning guitar. Um, and then I was always super rebellious about wanting to be not in music because both my parents are in music. So my form of rebellion was like, I will never do music. I'm going to write plays. It's like, that's not like really that rebellious, but like, okay. And so I was like, I don't want to do music, but I was always writing songs, always. And so then me and Zanny started writing, and my cousin Hope was like, y'all should start a band. And we were like, no. And then for some reason we did. So it was like me and Zandy and Darius, Lexi, and our friend Tanner. And then you know Carly Bannister?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Carly was in it.
Carly Bannister. She was in the band. Yeah. So we started this
Who's
band in high
Ellie
school.
Holcomb's younger sister?
Ellie Holcomb's little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to high
And she's an
school
amazing
together.
artist on her own. Carly.
She's
She's
so
so
good.
good. And stand-up
She's so
comedian.
Yeah, she's really funny. And also she always says that we kicked her out of the band because she's not black, which is not true. Alleged. I mean, it's not
Allegedly.
that true. And so we didn't kick her out of the band. She went to school. So anyway,
Self-selected.
Self-selected, right. So the four of us continued. Tanner went and did his own thing. He was a lot younger than us at the time. And the four of us like just never quit. And I ended up going to college, and they went to college too. And I wanted to study playwriting. And so actually I was like the first person in this like playwriting program that they had started at Lipscomb. So I got like this crazy discount on tuition. Insane. So my dad still to this day is a little mad, and that's okay. And I went to school for this one semester, and at the end of the semester I had a professor who was like uh not a theater professor at all. He was like one of my gen eds professor, Mr. Sweeney. And he was like, "What do you really want to do?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it's weird because he wasn't like my Mr. Feeney. Like I wasn't like telling him like all my, like, I don't know why to this day, I don't know why he asked me this, but he was like, "What do you really want to do?" And I was like, "I want to write plays." And he was like, "No, what do you really want to do?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "What do you do when you're not in the theater 24/7?" I was like, "I sneak into the music department and write songs." And he was like, "Okay." And he was like, "So what do you want to do?" I'm like, "I think I want to write songs." And he was like, "Do you have the opportunity to do that?" I was like, "I mean, yeah, I'm in a band." And he was like, "Great." He was like, "Go do your band, and school will always be here if you want to come back." And I was like, "Okay." And I have no idea why, but I was like, "He's right." Like, I love writing songs, like, more than I liked being in the theater department. I love stories. I've always loved stories, but, like, I just loved writing songs. So I ended up sitting down with my mom at a Cracker Barrel, and I was, like, crying, and I was like, "I think I just wanna take some time off of school." And she's like, "Okay." And my dad, he was a little mad, but it was okay. And now he's not mad anymore. And we ended up praying because my bandmates decided also to take some time off of school. They like sat down with their parents, and that was like a miracle that their parents said yes. And so then we ended up praying, and we were like, "God, if you do something with this band in 6 months, we'll keep going. And if you don't, we'll go back to school." And we played 2 shows in 6 months. We were really bad. We never really played shows like that. We played 2 shows in that 6 months, and that second show you were at, and you came up to us after, and you were like, "Hey, I'm Andrew Osenga. I'm from Capitol, and would you want to talk?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." And we were like, "What?" And then we ended up talking to you. We ended up signing at CMG. And that was like the meeting you was like almost to the day of the 6 months or something.
Really?
And yeah,
That's
it was like
crazy.
almost Tuesday.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. And yeah. So we decided to keep going. And so we like love it, and it's changed a lot. And there's still a lot of changes happening now, but it's been
Yeah.
like a blessing and so fun. And anyway, thanks for being part of like probably the one of the biggest reasons why I'm still doing music to this day. But it's just like, yeah, been so fun and a wild ride.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember how I heard of you guys. I think I saw Zandy was playing bass with my friend Chris Cron at some show.
Oh, gee, yeah.
And I saw her and I was like, that girl's awesome. And then I think I'd met Dwan or something. I don't know. Somehow I heard that her band was playing. And I was sitting on the couch and I was like, that band is playing. I should go see that. And I never feel this, but it was like, you know me, I don't talk this way, but I was like, felt like the spirit of the Lord be like, get off your butt and go see this band. And I was like,
Whoa.
I got to go see this band, guys. I'm so sorry. And I got up and went and saw this band. And I was like, they are so cool. They are not great, but they are so awesome.
Not good.
And it was like, but it was, you know, when you see the thing where you're like, they're not good, but they're great, you know? Like what this is going to be is so amazing. And the
Yeah.
harmonies and the songs and the vibe, just everything. Like you just tell who you guys was so spectacular. And I was like, I just want to know these people and support whatever this is. I want to support it. And yeah, and it was so fun. And I remember,
Little
yeah, you guys
babies.
coming over to the office the next day or two and just us hanging out and having so much fun. And um, yeah, that's crazy. And that would have been 2013, 2014.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah.
I think so, because I graduated in 2012. Yeah,
Huh.
2013.
Crazy. Well,
Mhm.
so now you guys are, yeah. And then, yeah, you started putting out some music. Started going on tour and now you still do all that. And now, yeah, Lexi came off the road to start their family. And so now you guys have different people come out and help fill in with the band. I want to go back though. You started talking about playwriting and how you
Yeah.
enjoyed doing that. Um, I remember you telling me a story one time about how you started writing plays, and you have written a few plays, and I think you told me a story about maybe writing a Christmas play at one point.
Yeah.
Would you tell me the story of your Christmas play?
Sure, like the one from when I was a kid?
Was that it? It was a
Or
yeah.
right
You were a it was a you. No, you do it every year, don't you? Or you did?
well, now I do. Okay, right now I write the Christmas plays for the church I'm at, and I've done it for the past 3 years. But growing up, I used
That's so
to
sweet.
write Christmas plays. And the way I started writing plays in general was because I always thought like when I was growing up, I wanted to be a director. And
Like a movie director.
I yeah, either stage or movie, but I think I was more passionate about the stage just because I thought like that's more serious, like,
Huh.
stage actors are serious. And so I would like study, like I was homeschooled, I would just like pour into like these plays. My grandpa, my dad's dad is a theater actor.
Oh,
And
really?
so he would like give me plays. Yeah. He's still to this day, he's amazing. He would like give me plays to read and um I sometimes auditioned for shows and stuff. And sorry, my brother.
I
Hi,
love it.
Joe. He would like give me plays and stuff to read, and I would like watch all these like old films and stuff. But I decided that I had had enough of our church's like Christmas pageant. I was like, this is so corny. Like, we need to do a show. We need to do like a real proper show. So I went to our pastor at the time and I was like,
But you're how
hey,
old?
I'm 12 years
Okay.
old.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I just think like I want to direct this year's Christmas play. And Would you let me do that? And I have no idea why. But he was like, because it wasn't even like I'm not talking about like the church isn't like 12 people. Like it wasn't big, but it really wasn't like small enough to where like you're like, sure, whatever, little
Mhm,
girl.
mhm.
And he was just like, sure. And I was like, okay. And he was like, how much money do you need? And I was like, $100. It's like, great. And I wanted to direct a Charlie Brown Christmas. And my parents were like, hey, you have to get the rights to that to direct a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah,
And
your
I was like,
parents know
great.
too
So I started
much.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
come on, they know. So I was calling like literally the publishing house, like, hey guys, I'm 12 years old. I literally was trying everything. I was like, I'm 12. I'm trying to direct this play at my church. Can you please give me the rights to this play? Obviously, nobody's calling me back. Like, but I was like making so many calls every day. I was like, hello, it's me again. The girl who's 12 trying to
That's so
direct.
great.
And finally, like we get right up to like audition time. Like it's almost audition time and nobody's calling me back. So I was like, "Ugh, I'm just gonna write a play. I'm just gonna write one, and then that way we have something to perform." So I write this play, and it's called Ralphie and the Star Maker. I wrote it on like literally like lined paper,
Ralphie
and
and
then
the
typed it
Star
up later.
Maker. Yes.
Ralphie and the Star Maker, and it's the story of how the Star of Bethlehem got chosen. And essentially it's like this a little star named Ralphie. He's much smaller than all the other stars, but he has two best friends named Pudge, who was played by my brother Max. And I feel like to this day, I'm like, I'm sorry that I made you play a chubby star named Pudge. And this other girl whose name I don't really remember, but she was like a nerd star. And they were like the three underdogs of stars in heaven. And like all these like there's like cheerleader stars and jock stars and like cool stars and like and they all were auditioning to be the star of Bethlehem. And Ralphie, like he was smaller than everyone, but he had like a great heart. And so whenever whoever came to town to pick the star, like chose him to be the star of Bethlehem. And it was so fun. Like, literally, it was such a blast, like, to be able to do that, and adults, like, joined in to be helpful,
Did
and,
people love
uh
that you did that this kid wrote this
yeah,
play? And they're like, "Holy,
people
she
were
wrote an actual play."
yeah, and I just was like, "Yeah." I don't think like, now I'm like, "Whoa, little girl, like, that's so cool." Like, I had so much gumption, which is, like, a word I keep using. I'm like, "I need to get my gumption back." Like, I was
Hmm.
just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna write a play, and I'm just gonna ask if I can do this," and I'm like, I cannot imagine doing that right now. Like, in
Hmm.
terms of just being like, "Can I do" but I was like I was a cool little girl. I was like, "Wow, that's cool, little kid." And so yeah, I did that, and then I did a couple other plays at the church, and I ended up directing a few more and just like an arts group that I was a part of, and they were always like so serious. Like some of them were fun, and then but then some of them were like there. I remember this one play was like so much. It was like a teenage pregnancy, and uh, what else was it like? It was all for some reason. Do you know the Chris Tomlin song "God of the City"?
Oh yeah,
You're the
yeah.
god of I, like, based it off of this song, and it had nothing to do with this song. But it was, like, a Christmas play about a teenage pregnancy, people who could not have children, so they adopted a teenage girl. Somebody cheated on their wife and left. I'm like, "This is a Tyler Perry play. This is not a children's play," and I had children acting in it. Like, it's just, like, kind of insane. But anyway, people let
And
me
you're
do
like
this, and
15
I'm
writing this?
literally 15 years old writing these crazy, insane plays, and people are just letting me, and they're like, "Wow, great." I'm like, "That's wild."
It's
But
so
I
funny.
loved it. I did it for years. I did end up I don't know if I should say this, but I did end up illegally directing a Charlie Brown Christmas. So
I think the
so please
statute
don't
of
say
limitations has probably run out on this. Yeah.
and I was a child, so
Yeah.
I mean, I was like 16, but it was great. It was so much fun. And it's fun to do it again. Like it's my favorite part of the year. We're about to enter It's audition season literally right now for the
Really?
Christmas play at my church, and we start rehearsals in 2
Oh
weeks.
my gosh, that's so fun.
So, it's so fun, it's my favorite time of the year. I love it so much, the kids are awesome.
What play are you doing this year? Are you doing Ralphie and the Star Maker? Have you thought about
No, I
bringing it
wrote a
back?
new Yes, but I would need to revamp it, like, a lot. I think next year, that would be fun. I should just, like, revamp it, and we should redo Ralphie and the Star Maker because it was really good.
Sounds
But
good. Yeah,
well,
what's this
actually, I
year?
don't know if it was good. It's called Christmas in Snowberry Falls or something like that, and it's about this town that's super busy at Christmas time, and there's a main girl, her name is Miss Busy, and she is in charge of the food drive and the toy drive and all the getting presents, and she's sick of Christmas, but she is because she's so busy. And then the pastor at the church is stressed out because he's like, I have to give a sermon that changes everyone's lives. And all these new people are coming to the church. So it has to be good. And there's a woman in town who's really lonely because she misses her son at Christmas and he's overseas. And she just keeps asking people to come over for hot chocolate. Nobody has time because everyone's busy. And so it's basically about people learning how to slow down, and that Christmas we make it require a lot of things that it doesn't really require. And we can being together is, it's like every Christmas special tells you, being together is the best part of Christmas. And so it's about slowing down a little bit
Hmm,
and not being so
that's awesome.
yeah, it's cute. It's fun.
That's really fun. So
Yeah.
you've been writing these plays, but you also have been writing books. I'm gonna do a little plug here. Now that we have these,
Love
since
it.
we're doing this on video, I'm just gonna hold these up for the little camera here because I've got these books. But we got Ben
Ooh.
Washington, the newbie on the block, Ben Washington, the odd
Yeah.
man out. These are your books right here.
My books.
Yeah, your young adult series about this young man named Ben Washington.
Yeah.
They're so good. I've read them. They're so good. And
Oh, thanks for reading them.
of course, well, and I not only are they good, but I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the books. Like when you tell people about the books, how do you describe them? But then I'd love to hear a bit about the process of writing them. But when you sit next to somebody on an airplane and they're like, you write books? What are they about? What do you tell people?
That's a good question. Um, I probably give him way too short of an answer, but the I will say Ben Washington he's a little boy, he's 12 years old, and he is moving from Atlanta, Georgia, to a tiny town, the fictional Radnor Falls, Wisconsin, with his mom who is pregnant with his first sibling, a little baby girl, and his dad, and they're moving to Radnor Falls, Wisconsin because his dad inherited a bookstore from his late great uncle, and his dad's dream has always been to run this bookstore. And so they go to Radnor Falls to for his dad to run this bookstore called Booker T. Washington. Booker TEA Washington. Because there's a lot of tea and books in this little bookstore. Anyway, so they go move to Radnor Falls. Ben is not happy about it. He's like, all my people, his best friend Zion lives in Atlanta. All his friends live in Atlanta. He fit in Atlanta. And he's like, you can't just walk up to somebody in the sixth grade and be like, do you want to be homies? Like, that's not how it works. So he's not really excited to have to make new friends. And he's like, there's not a lot of black people in Radnor Falls, Wisconsin. He's like, this is a whole culture shock for him. And so he is kind of just not happy about it. And meanwhile, he's hearing all these like ghost stories about this man in town, um, who apparently did something really bad, and everyone's really scared of this man. who actually ends up being like a really kind man who like teaches him a lot about what it means to be different in a space where people are kind of wary of you, and how to be yourself. And his parents teach him a lot about like being friends with someone who other people are like not cool with being friends with. Um and Ben ends up making a friend at school who is like ride or die for Ben. And so yeah, that's what the first story is about, and the second one is a kind of an extension of book one and the characters, and what it means to be a friend, and it's sweet.
Yeah. Well, and they are so good. The artwork also is amazing. Um, I'm
I
not the
love
only.
it.
Yeah. Whoever did this crushed it.
It's a husband and wife. They go by Brave Union, and they're so good. Everything I want a little Ben tattooed on me because of them.
Yeah, you got cool tattoos. You should do that. Yeah, they're so good. Yeah, it's all throughout the book, and it's awesome. Um, you okay? So, uh, you're actually nominated for a Christie Award, right? For young, what's the award you're nominated for? Best new author.
Young adult young adult fiction.
Come on, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. You're gonna win. Um,
Oh, that's nice.
ok- but you were working on these for a long time. The process of writing this
Yeah.
book was not just you just didn't sit down and write this first story, right?
Mm-mm. Oh,
Like you, would you tell us a little bit about the process of like the
yeah.
revisions and what all you went through to get here? Because I know it took a lot.
Yeah. So the first iteration of the story I wrote, I don't even know when. I'm gonna say like 2016, but that might not be right. We were on tour, and I pretty much only read middle grade fiction. And so I was I don't know why. But so the stories that come out of me naturally are like pretty like for kids. And so I for some reason I got this ring that prompted me to want to write this story about Ben. And so I started writing the story about Ben Washington. And um I think too, like, we in the van were talking a lot about identity and about being Black people in white spaces. And I think so the story kind of felt natural to the way that we had grown up. And so I started writing about Ben and his family and him moving to Wisconsin. And um the bones of the story were like pretty similar to how they are now. Like the characters, except for one, were pretty much the same too.
Hmm.
And but there was like things that probably wouldn't they just weren't it wasn't like fully flushed. And so I read it to my bandmates, and they were like, "This is good." And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You should like let other people read it." So then I screenshot it because I wrote it in my notes app. I like screenshot it and like posted it on an Instagram for like friends and family to see. And um somebody his name there's a man named Don Pape who I love him very much. He's my book agent right now. And he somehow, I don't know how, but he read it and found it, and he was like, "Would you want to do this for real?" And I was like, "Sure." So I ended up meeting with him, and he was like, "I think that this is something, and we'd have to like work on it, but I think this is something that could be like great." And I was like, "Okay." And so over the next like few years, I just like wrote revision after revision of it, and I would send it to him, and he'd be like, well, he used to be a book editor before he was a book agent.
Hmm.
And he was like, I think at Random House for a long time. Now I might be saying the wrong one, and I'm sorry, Don, if I but Anyway, he thinks like an editor, but he's like so for authors. And so he like would just be like, this is great. This won't fly with parents, or this is so cool. It does like explain this more here. And so I got it to a place where he's like, okay, now we can take it somewhere.
Hmm.
And he started to like pitch it places. And then finally, actually I almost signed with a book company. I felt so weird about it for some reason, and I didn't end up going with them.
Hmm.
And then Moody Publishers ended up reading it, and they were like, hey, we're really interested in this book. And so I was freaking out because I listened to Moody radio literally every day after school in high school, because my grandmas would pick me up, and we would go to Sonic and we would listen to Adventures in Odyssey on Moody radio. And it was like one of my favorite parts of the day. I still listen to Adventures in Odyssey. It's called so. But I was freaking out because I was like, I love Moody. And I ended up meeting with my acquisitions editor. Her name is Catherine Parks. Love her. And she asked me about my story. And I told her Ben's story is really similar to mine, and that like, especially in high school, I was in a lot of white spaces that were sometimes emotionally unsafe. But when I was growing up in my elementary school years, is not like Ben's at all. I grew up in what felt like the kingdom of God, where there was like Black people, white people, mixed people, Native American people, Asian people. Like we all, like the church I went to, they would be like, this Sunday we're doing, um, there was a family, Charles Robinson, and he had like, he's Native American and he also has a ministry for his people. And so they would come in and they would lead us in a worship service that was like Native American worship service. And then there would be like, we're doing Spanish Sunday or Spanish speaking Sunday. And so like all the songs would be in Spanish. And then there was like, it was like,
Wow.
this is like heaven. And I was like, everybody is like this, right?
Hmm.
And I thought that's what it was like. And then I went to high school, and I won't, there were some good things about that high school for sure. Like it's a classical, it was a classical school. So there's a lot of writing, and I am so thankful for what they taught me about writing and reading. But there was a lot of like not good, pretty bad teachings around Black history and white history
Wow.
in America. And had a lot of hard confrontations at that school, and a lot of hard things that happened that made me be like, oh, everything is not like the way I grew up. And there isn't like what I was in wasn't something really special and really holy and like such a cool image of the kingdom that doesn't exist everywhere. And then that's a shock to my system. And so um I think it just felt really important to me because there's so many little kids, so many little brown kids who are in spaces where they're the only one like them, and they're like, am I just wrong? Am I bad? And I don't want to be like this. I want to belong. Everyone wants to belong. And so it's important to me to write this story about what it means to belong, what it means to be different. Um I want kids to be proud of themselves and to be able to be like, it's good that I'm not the same. And it's can be sad still that I'm not the same. Like, it doesn't have to be like, we celebrate our differences and that's beautiful. It's like, yeah. And it's sad that there's not somebody in your space that's like you, you
Hmm.
know? And I want them to at least have that and have somebody like them in their hands. And so, um,
Wow.
that's been a really beautiful thing because I've gotten to hear stories from like families who look like Ben and kids who don't look like Ben, and they all can relate to him in like some way because everybody wants to belong somewhere. And I really relate to Ben. Like, he kind of feels like a extension of me mixed with my brothers a little. And
Mm.
um it's just kind of an honor to write. So it was great. It's been good.
Wow. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Thanks.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What's it like to get those kinds of letters or emails? I mean,
I mean,
yeah, that's got to be really
I don't think
powerful.
I'm not it's crazy. I think I forget that anyone's reading them.
Mm.
So, like, it feels like something that exists in my heart, but, like, not in the world, and then when someone it's like someone's reading your diary almost, even though it's a fiction, you know?
Mm.
So when I find out that someone reads it, I'm always surprised, and then I pretty much always get emotional because I'm just like, "Oh," like, somebody read a review on both of them the other day, and I, like, just sobbed because she just was talking about, like, about belonging essentially and how it hits home with her, but also, like, I don't know, it just, like, feels so surreal. And every time a kid reads it, it really gets me because I'm like, "Oh, good." Like,
Mm.
or someone's like, "I wanna be like Kenny," which is like Kenny is Ben's best friend in town,
Yeah.
and, Kenny is like he's so fun. Or someone's like, "I feel like I'm like Ben." Like, something about that, like, because when I was a kid, that's how I made sense of the world when it didn't make sense is I read so many books, I watched a lot of television, a lot, and but it helped me make sense of my world to
Mm.
go, "Oh," like, even racially, I remember being like, "Oh, I'm, like, Huxtable black." Like, that's, like,
Oh,
weird, you know,
fascinating.
like,
Huh.
something interesting about that where I was like, "Oh, like, I feel like I'm, like, this, that, and the third." To be able to have a touch point
Mm.
for with character makes you go, "There's a place for me," you know? And that
Mm.
makes me really emotional. So, having little kids, like, be like, "I wanna be friends with Ben." I'm like, "You do?" You know, like, I'm just
Mm.
like, "That's so cool." Like, I hope they feel, like, seen, you know, when they read or, like, that they have a place, and books are just really important, and, I'm really thankful for all I got to read my dad made sure I read so much as a kid, like, he didn't have
Mm.
a lot of rules, but he was like, "You will be a reader. You
Hmm.
will." And so, I'm really thankful for that, and so, anytime I get to be a part of a kid's growing up story, I'm just like, don't take that lightly even a little bit. Like, I think God likes kids a little bit better than he likes everyone else. And so I'm just like, I take kids so serious. They are serious and they're like so cool and they're so smart. And I don't know. I'm really thankful
Mm.
when they read it.
Yeah. It it took you so long to write these books, like the process from posting things on Instagram in a van to going through all these
Yeah.
revisions to finally having these books out. Were there moments where you got discouraged, where you thought you would abandon the project? I mean, were you sort of like, I will do this committed the whole time? I mean, um, what was the emotional
I,
journey for you of this project?
yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, during the process, I did not feel that discouraged, and I think it's because
Hmm.
I had no context for anything, so it all felt fake. I was like, I've never written a book, sure." You know, like, I guess. And
Love that.
because I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what I was doing wrong, and I didn't know what I was doing right. And my editor, she's
Such
so
a beauty in
dope.
that.
I love her. Um, her name is, um I hate this right now. My brain
I
is
will I
not really
will
working.
edit this out. You will know
It's
exactly what her name was immediately. It will roll off your tongue.
Thank you. Please just her name is Amanda Cleary. She writes children's books, the Tree Street Kids series. She's amazing. Um, and she's so helpful, and whenever I was, like, mad, I would only get frustrated when it was, like, pushback against, like, racial things
Mm.
sometimes that would happen. Like, I would be like, Ben said, like, word, or, like, he dapped somebody up, and they're like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like they're like, "You can't put that because kids won't get it." And I'm like, "Kids do know what dapping is!" I'm just like or things that are, like and sometimes she would be like, "You have to decide, like, what hill you wanna die on." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Some hills are important to die on, so don't, you know, say yes to anything." But she just was like a champion for me too in so many ways, and she was so helpful, and um,
Hmm.
I loved her. So anyway, I don't remember feeling that discouraged except for one night when I thought I deleted my entire book. That bad.
Oh
But I found
no.
it
Oh
by
my
the
God.
grace of God. By the grace of God. All my revisions, all my new edits, I thought they were all gone. Praise God. But anyway, all that to say, the actual process of writing it, um, all things considered, was good, but there was a huge disappointment that was like after the book. When when it came out,
Hmm.
I struggled heavy, like
Really?
literally till like a couple weeks ago, I'm gonna be honest with you. And it was like I think like it was my first time doing anything um this large scale creative on my own in
Hmm.
my adult life. And I didn't know that I had put pressure on it to like be successful, like, because I don't think I was thinking like that when I was writing it.
Yeah.
But I think once it came out, I'm like, it's not me and my bandmates. It's like you wrote this. It's you. So
Hmm.
if people don't like it, then they don't like you. And
Ooh.
so it came out, and at first it was selling really well, and then it just wasn't. And then it was like, "Hey, the books aren't selling in bookstores, so they're sending the books back." And I was like, "Okay." So then I shut down. Like, I was just like, "I'm not an author. I'm not gonna talk about these books. I can't handle this." And
Hmm.
I just, like, couldn't deal for a minute.
Hmm.
And I feel sad about it because I'm like, I am so proud of Ben, and I think I didn't realize, like, it the success thing for me is I'm oldest daughter, only daughter, like, oldest sibling, everything. There's, like, such, like, this, like, narrative of, like, you have to, like, get your stuff done. It needs to be right. It needs to, and, I come from people who have achieved things, and I was like, this I'm so embarrassed that this isn't working. And so I like shut down to it for a minute. And then I kept talking to I didn't talk about it for a long time. And then I was talking to Zandy, my bandmate, actually not even about the books. I was talking to her about music
Hmm.
because I felt like I was supposed to start writing music for myself, and I was like, I don't want to because I can't handle it. I don't know when's gonna like it. And
'Cause
she's
you've
like,
never
"What are
done
you
music
talking?"
by yourself either. It's been with the band or
Yeah,
with
I'd like
anchor
a
hymns,
couple
worship
shows.
music, you did all this stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'd I'm like, no, like I can't, like I can't do that. And she's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, like I do know that like I feel like weirdly traumatized by the books not doing well
Hmm.
after like years of hard work. And like I failed, and like anything I do is just gonna fail if I do it by myself or something."
Hmm.
And she's like, "Well, you need to talk about that with God." And I'm like, "No," and
Hmm.
so uh, I kind of started talking to God about it, and where I was just like, feel so embarrassed that like this isn't working, and I just like don't want to try things. I don't want to try things by myself because I can't do it, and all this stuff. And I'm telling him in a panic, and God and me like have I love Jesus. We have like a very that's like my real friend. You know, like, so I just like was like word vomiting at God. And then but I wasn't really listening for anything back. I was just like, fine, I'll just tell you I'm pissed, you know. And then I ended up going and I have like a mentor and her name is Miss Carol. And I went and sat with Miss Carol and she was like, the Holy Spirit is telling me to tell you, like, you're a success. And I had not used that word with her. She was like, you're a success. No, she was like, no, you're a success. You're a success in the spirit. Like, you're a success. Like, God is saying, like, you're a success to him. Like, you're a success in his kingdom. Like, you're a success. And I was like bawling my eyes out. I was like,
Hmm.
whatever, you know? And I was like, but the books didn't do good. And I can't. And she's like, you're also supposed to do your own music. And you're supposed to like be telling these other stories. And everything is not about the band. And she's like saying, she's reading my mail to me, you know? And I'm like,
You hadn't
okay.
had you said that stuff to her?
I not said anything about the what did I say to her? I had told her the band had to succeed. Like, I didn't say
Hmm.
success. I said the band had to, like, the band has to do this and that and the third, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't say like, and she was like, you have to do this. And I've always said you're supposed to do your own music. And she's like, the band's not gonna last forever. And she's like, and maybe it'll last another 20 years. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, but like you can't just keep. And I was like, okay. Then that
Hmm.
night I went to church and I was on worship team for our church because we have like Tuesday night services. And a lady there who is like one of our pastors, she came in and she was like, Jazz, how's the band? And it was like the first thing she asked me, and I was like, it's good, you know, it's good. And she was like, you know that I always thought you're supposed to do your own thing. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you're supposed to do your own thing. And I literally didn't say anything to her at all. And I was like, okay. And so then I texted a friend about writing, and she's like, you know, I always thought you're supposed to do your own thing.
Hmm.
And I think it was like started freaking me out. But I feel like with the books, like God is, I feel like this like weird, like they're the thing I birthed on my own. And so they're the thing that's like the hardest to look at. And so even with this like new thing of like I want to make music by myself, like it's interconnected, like God being like, what do you think success is? Like, do you think it's like selling a million books? Because that's not what I call success, you know? Because I already like your identity is already a success. I already call you that because you're my kid, you know?
Hmm.
And I really struggle with that, like in a deep way, because I'm like, I will be a success. I hear you, God, and I will be a success once this is done. And
Hmm.
it works. It's like, no, that's not what I said. But I'm like, no, but I get what you're putting down. It's like, if this wins, then I'm a success. And he's like, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm like, but I do get it. Just like, I don't know why I can't get it through my little skull. But he also has like been like, you make an idol out of the thing that you call success. And he's like, and I don't give people idols to worship. Like I only
Hmm.
like give them things to worship me. So like I love you too much to give you an idol. Not that he's like, I want to make you fail, but I think he like cares about me enough to where he's like, oh, that like winning is not a mark of my faithfulness to you. Like, and so I think I'm learning how to keep doing stuff when it doesn't look like what I think success is. And it makes me want to quit. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more. And God is like, okay, like, but yeah, you do. And I'm like, I do? And he's like, yeah, you do. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
can't even stop. I can't stop telling stories if my life depended on it. So might as
Hmm.
well just like be so I gave him my yes like 2 weeks ago. I was like, fine. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Sure. And honestly, like once I finally was like, whatever you want, I started to be a little excited about telling stories again. So I don't know what the future of storytelling is for me, to be honest. I mean, maybe this is not encouraging for people who are listening, and I'm sorry. But I'm like, I honestly don't know what the future is. Like, I don't know if I'll ever get another book deal or what me making a record will look like. But I do know that God loves me and I'm like already good enough. And I don't like feel like that every day. Like, honestly, like every other day, I feel like I'm like up and down with it. Some days I'm like, wow, God, I am who you say I am. And the next day I'm like, I'm trash. I'm nothing. I'm basically David in the Psalms. And like, God is just like good. Like, he just stays the same. And so, um, but I'm going to keep making stuff because I love it. And because I think God loved it. Like, my dad likes to read my stories, and whoever's supposed to read it is supposed to read it. Like when a little kid reads the book, I cry. Or when a kid comes up to me at church and they're like, I'm auditioning for the Christmas play, Miss Jasmine. I'm so excited. Like, like
Oh,
that makes
so
me so
sweet.
emotional. Like, one girl was like, Miss Jasmine, I'm really sad because this is my last play before I transition to middle school. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss you. Or when we played a show the other day in Memphis, and there was like, we're playing this song called Young Black Americans, and there's like
Love that song.
25 little kids at the front jumping up and down, and they're like dancing and while their parents watch. And I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. And so it's like, I don't know what I think success is, but I think I'm wrong about it. And so I'm trying to like let God dictate what that means to me, because I really let it stop me. And so I'm just working on whatever I want to right now, and we'll see.
I don't think there's anything else that we needed to say. I think that
Well, I said
you
a lot
just
of
preached.
words. I talk a lot. My jaw is so unhinged. I'm like, can you shut up, please?
No, it is wonderful. It is such a treat. Well, whatever you have to say, there's a lot of people. I'm glad to hear it, and there's a lot of people that I know love to hear it. I'm excited for the new music because I love all the things that you write, and
Dang.
yeah, thank you for just sharing that with us. Thanks for being so honest, and it's you're not the only person that struggles with that, and yeah, I feel that same way. I feel that same way. It's so easy to feel like, yeah, thank you, God, for loving me, and I will agree with you once I do this and that and this and that. Uh, but just to be able to rest in that is so hard, and I don't know
Yeah.
why it is so hard.
Yeah.
And to give yourself the space to just sit in that and rest in that. I love that. Yeah, all these stories of confirmation are so beautiful. Well, thank you, Jasmine, for your time today. And if people want to find your books, where do they find them? How do they get these awesome stories in their
You
house?
can find them on the internet
On the
at
internet.
Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Target.com. Or maybe you live in a random town where they're at a small little bookstore. But for the most part, you can just order them online.
Love it. Ben Washington
Yeah.
is the newbie on the block. Ben Washington is the odd man out. And the New Respects website. What's your website? thenewrespects.com.
Respects.com. Should I
Okay.
double check?
That would
Let's
make
double
sense.
check.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time today. Make it for hanging out at the farmhouse.
Thanks
So
for having me.
wonderful. And yeah, well, I will talk to you soon. And this has been such a treat.
It's been a treat.
You're
Love
the
you, Andrew.
best.
Thank you so much.
You too. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Love you.
Bye. She's the best. Guys, you got to get her books. Ben Washington is the newbie on the block. Ben Washington is the odd man out. You should get these books for yourself and for kids in your life. They're so good. They are so good. Maybe if we all buy these books, then she'll get the opportunity to write more of them, and that would be good for her and the world, right? We need that in the world. Also, go listen to the New Respects, because they're just the coolest band on earth. We have a shocking lack of bands right now. Like, all the new artists are solo artists. Everybody's a solo artist. Where did bands go? What happened to bands? It's so great to have a rock and roll band who is just awesome. Go listen to the New Respects. If they're coming to your town, oh my goodness, get off the couch as the Spirit moves you and go see the New Respects live. You will be glad. Trust me. Trust the Spirit. Also, speaking of books, I got a book. It's called How to Remember: Forgotten Pathways to an Authentic Faith. You could get that too. I don't think we talked about this, but we have the same publisher, Jasmine and I. We're both on Moody Publishers up in Chicago. And that was really fun to find out that we had the same publishing company. How fun is that? Hopefully I can write another book too if people buy mine. Hint, hint. Okay, also speaking of music, I have music, but you know that. I'll stop plugging myself. That's disgusting. But I will say that you should come back next week because we'll have more episodes. And also you can click like and subscribe. And please subscribe to my Substack because that's how we can stay in touch. And that's how you can email me and let me know what you think of the podcast and all those things. Oh, let me go back to the book. If you've already bought it, thank you. Please go to Amazon and leave a review. That would be so helpful. Thank you. All right, that's it for us today. This has been just so fun. We'll see you next week. And for now, go do something awesome.